Nobody is coming to save you, Palestinians. And this is what happens when you keep messing around. You get a US president like Trump who floats the idea of moving you guys out of Gaza, out of your home, to Egypt and Jordan, to Malaysia and Indonesia. Has Donald Trump fully lost it? I don't know, but he's floating the idea of shipping out Gazans from Gaza Strip to Egypt and Jordan. We got to talk about this. News is breaking right now as he took an interview on Air Force One speaking to reporters. Let's hear what he had to say. Okay, I'm going to turn on captions here because this is not a video, by the way. It's just the audio, so just listen to this.
On Saudi, Mr. President, you spoke to the Crown Prince. Did you discuss a normalization deal between Israel and Saudi?
I discussed getting oil prices down. Because if you get oil prices down, Russia will stop the war. And Biden should have never allowed him to go up so high. When Biden let them go up to that level, he was just inducing Russia, which sells oil, to go into a war. So he should have never allowed. The Democrats, namely Biden, allowed oil prices to go up. That's one of the reasons you have the Ukraine catastrophe.
Did he agree?
How do you bring the prices down?
Volume.
So you're talking about increasing.
All right, so we're just in an oil conversation right now.
About your call with the King of Jordan today, please.
There's a very
Okay, call with the King of Jordan.
good call. He's a friend of mine. I know him very well. I've gotten along with him over the years very well, and he's done a wonderful job. He really houses, millions of Palestinians, and he does it in a very humane way. And
I don't know about that.
But Jordan's done an amazing job of housing largely Palestinians, and he's done it in a very successful way.
So what was the subject of discussion? Was it
Pretty much that. I said to him, I'd love you to take on more, because I'm looking at the whole Gaza Strip right now, and it's a mess. It's a real mess.
This is freaking crazy. This is crazy. And I'm not saying this from a perspective of excitement, yeah? Like, I think that I'll even push back a little bit on the idea of taking Palestinians out of this area and moving them somewhere else. Because I also don't think that's... I don't think it's a solution. I think it's a Band-Aid solution. But wait, we got to listen to the whole thing from the beginning.
The subject of discussion was it
pretty much that. I said to him, I'd love you to take on more.
I'd love you to take on
I'm
more.
looking at the whole Gaza Strip right now, and it's a mess. It's a real mess.
So you'd like Jordan to house people from
I'd like
Gaza?
him to take people. I'd like Egypt to take people. I'm talking to General El-Sisi tomorrow, sometime I believe. And I'd like Egypt to take people, and I'd like Jordan to take people. You're talking about probably 1.5 million people, and we just clean out that whole thing. It's over the centuries that's had many conflicts that side, and I don't know. It's something has to happen, but.
Wow, if Donald Trump has gotten to the conclusion that there's no way to fix Gaza other than kicking out Palestinians because they're too extreme, I don't know if Palestinians have much to build off of anymore. But listen, here's the thing. I have been warning Palestinians about this for forever now. If you keep doing the extremism, if you keep falling into the same bullshit ways of trying to kill people and Islamic jihad, it is not going to pan out in your favor. I'm sure this doesn't pan out in our favor either, yeah? Like, I'm sure there's going to be a problem for us Israelis down the line with this as well. It's not going to go all swimmingly for us also. But I've been saying this. If you keep fucking around, you're going to find out eventually. And this is just the fact that there's a U.S. president floating the idea of moving Palestinians from Gaza to Egypt and Jordan forcibly. 1.5 million of them is bananas. That is absolutely crazy. That's not a reality I would have lived. And let's not forget that his administration just a few days ago, we were talking about this idea of moving Palestinians from Gaza. They were thinking about moving Palestinians to Malaysia and Indonesia, which in my opinion is a huge mistake because yes, it would be nice for Palestinians to be able to establish a new life somewhere else where they don't fall into this extremism. They're not going to get any less extreme in Indonesia and Malaysia. Okay, and somebody who lived in Southeast Asia for many years, I can tell you for a fact, you don't want Palestinians easily accessing a potential to hijack flights in the middle of Southeast Asia and then be able to do Islamic jihad attacks on the West from Southeast Asia. And I'm being serious. This isn't me like stereotyping Palestinians. I'm just saying there's a vast majority of Palestinians in Gaza are extremist. A vast majority of them want to see the destruction of the West. They want to see the destruction of Jewish people. They want to see the destruction of Israel. If that means that they need to get their hands on a plane, God forbid, in Indonesia or Malaysia and do something with it, they will do that. They've done it in the past. Okay, not specifically in those areas, but in other places in the area. That's why there's no airports left in Palestine, in the West Bank, or in Gaza, is because there's a real risk that they'll hijack the planes and do some crazy shit with it. Let's finish this. Let's finish this interview here.
It's literally a demolition site right now. Almost everything's demolished, and people are dying there. So I'd rather get involved with some of the Arab nations and build housing in a different location where they can maybe live in peace.
Temporarily, or would they
It could be either. It could be temporarily. Could be.
Okay, if people are saying it could be temporary, there's no way that a move. Okay, there's no way that moving Palestinians to Egypt and Jordan will be temporary. It will be permanent. You don't move people like that out and then. First of all, Israel, if there was ever a situation where you were to move 1.5 million Palestinians out, Israel would jump on the first opportunity to resettle that land that's empty. Jews will fight for that opportunity. It will not be barren, I promise you, especially not land like Gaza, because Gaza is a very, very beautiful place. It was a very, very beautiful place pre-October 7th. Go watch videos of how Palestinians were living there before they started this stupid war on Jewish people. They were living a very, very high quality of life. It was absolutely beautiful there, besides all the lies that they tell you about how it was a concentration camp and apartheid and genocide and all that BS. It was a beautiful, gorgeous place. You don't kick those people out, or you don't move those people out and then it stays barren. No. People will resettle that. Jews will probably resettle that. The old communities of Gush Katif, before we relinquish Gaza to the Palestinians, they will most likely resettle that themselves. I would not be surprised at all. And probably the Israeli government will either turn a blind eye to it or full on support it. The reality is, though, the idea that this is even being floated is crazy. I want to look a little bit more at, there's some other articles here and reports. This is from the Times of India. So you're going to be seeing, with this, you're going to start seeing sorry, this is not the Time of India. This is WION. Trump floats plan to clean out Gaza, move Palestinians to Egypt and Jordan. You're going to see a lot of people throw around the words ethnic cleansing, ethnic genocide. Like this is, you're going to see that floated now, okay? Keep in mind, okay? Keep in mind, when Egypt ruled over Gaza, okay, there was no ethnic cleansing, there was no apartheid, just because they see each other as Arab, okay? If they were to move just a couple meters down the side, it's not an ethnic cleansing. It's not an apartheid when there's 6 million Palestinians between the river to the sea. This is a population of people in Gaza specifically, okay? We all acknowledge here that the Palestinians in the West Bank are way more workable with, because they haven't fallen to the extremism quite as much as the Palestinians in Gaza, even though Palestinians in the West Bank have fallen into quite a bit of extremism. It's not nearly as much as the ones in Gaza, because the ones in Gaza, it literally feels like that community cannot be salvaged anymore, at least integrated back into the normal world. But you're not going to have a situation ever where Palestinians have been ethnically cleansed from this land, okay? Ever. Don't believe in that crap. You have 6 million Palestinians between the river to the sea in their indigenous homeland. You have 2 million in Gaza, 2 million in Israel proper, 2 million in the West Bank, 2 million in Judea and Samaria. There is no way ever that there will be a reduction of Palestinian society here, and they are growing. Those who see a future with Israel, it's really their only option at this point. And God willing, Trump actually makes the right steps now. Quick, it seems like he's trying to take the action quickly to actually make this situation better ASAP. And it looks like we're heading in that direction. Let's see what this nice lad has to say.
US President Donald Trump floated a plan to just clean out Gaza and said that he wants Egypt and Jordan, the neighboring nations, to take Palestinians from the territory in a bid to create peace in West Asia. Now, describing Gaza as a demolition site after the Israel-Hamas war, Trump said that he had already spoken to Jordan's King Abdullah and is expecting to speak with Egypt's leader Al-Sisi.
This is crazy.
He said that the move will allow people to live in peace for change. Trump added that shifting the people may be either temporary or could be longer in term. A vast majority of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been displaced since October 7, 2023. often multiple times by the war that began by Hamas' attack on southern Israel on the 7th of October. As per reports, more than 100,000 Palestinians have fled to Egypt to escape the war in Gaza. Hamas and Israel reached a deal for a ceasefire in Gaza, under which Israeli hostages will be swapped with Palestinian prisoners. Egypt has previously warned against any forced displacement of Palestinians from Gaza into the Sinai desert.
Yeah, but that was under a
Sisi said
Biden administration that didn't have a backbone to help Israel.
could jeopardize the peace treaty Egypt signed with Israel in 1979.
No, it
Jordan
won't.
is already home to around 2.3 million registered Palestinian refugees, according to the United Nations.
By the way, they're not refugees. This is the only group of people on planet Earth that's been given refugee status eternally. Okay, when he says the Palestinian refugees, it's not refugees, it's not people who have been kicked out, it's people who have been there for like 70 years. They didn't just leave Palestine or Israel now. So the same way that my family are Iraqi refugees, we don't get that. Because we're Jews, we don't get any sort of title of Iraqi refugees. The UN doesn't give us that. We don't get any sanction, or we don't get any reparations. We don't get any aid from the UN. We just told to fuck off and go. You'll be fine. You're a Jew. So just keep that in mind, please. Whenever you hear the word Palestinian refugees or refugee camps, it's quite literally people who have been there for multiple generations. Just the UN and UNRWA have fucked these people, for lack of better terms. They will not let them become civilized citizens of the countries that they're in. They will keep them under refugee status with this hope of somehow coming back to a land that they haven't been a part of for 3 generations. Okay? Maybe one day there'll be a future of right of return for Palestinians, but under the guides of current Palestinian society, it's not possible. Palestinians are too extreme across the board. Hopefully, a reality where maybe we can temporarily move Palestinians from Gaza, give them a better life for a certain amount of time, and then bring them back, inshallah, in the future, will allow us to make ties with the Palestinians in the West Bank, settle things in Israel proper, so we really do develop a piece of kumbaya. I don't know, maybe this is the right way. I've never been a fan of this idea of moving Palestinian populations out of here. I think we need to solve it here. But Gaza has always been my question. Gaza has always been a question. It's been impossible for me to solve. People always ask me my opinion on Gaza. I have no idea how you solve Gaza. I really don't know how you're supposed to do it. It seems impossible. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for you. Listen, we got some new merch dropping. The limited edition merch items that are on the merch shop right now. The Abu Baklawa shirt, if you can see, is going away. So whatever merch options are on the site right now, they're going away very soon, and we're launching some new merchandise options on the travelingclad.com ASAP. So make sure you check it out. I don't really know what else to add in commentary-wise on this situation. I do hope that Trump takes the necessary steps right now to aid Israel in this fight against Gaza. If it means moving Palestinians temporarily and getting to a point where we might be able to have a future of peace, it could be really, really amazing. I hope to God that it happens. I am still very skeptical. I think all of us will be very skeptical about this. But fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed that we can make this happen. I think that the reality is, and this is the point that I always want to reiterate, Palestinians have to stop fucking around. They have to stop fucking around. It is time to pick yourself up off your bootstraps, go away from the extremism, go away from the muqawama, go away from the resistance. It hasn't helped you. It won't help you. You'll never be able to win Israel. No Arabs are ever coming to save you, Palestinians. Egypt has abandoned you. Jordan has abandoned you. Syria has abandoned you. Lebanon has abandoned you. Saudi Arabia has abandoned you. Nobody is coming to save you, Palestinians. And this is what happens when you keep messing around. You get a U.S. president like Trump who floats the idea of moving you guys out of Gaza, out of your home, to Egypt and Jordan, to Malaysia and Indonesia. This is just what happens. I'm sorry. Stop messing around. Focus on yourselves and better your community. You can't fight us forever. You will lose in this in the end. And I don't want you to lose. As somebody who genuinely has love for Palestinians and wants to coexist with them, and I say this in the biggest way possible, I want coexistence with my Arab brothers and sisters. I want it. I see it in a different way. I don't see it as like holding hands in peace, because we can't do that in this neighborhood. Sorry, we're all a bunch of fucking extremists here on every aspect. We are. We're all a bunch of crazy people. So it's not going to happen in that way. You need to respect me and I need to respect you, but I need to get that respect first, because you don't respect me because of my religion. Stop messing around. pull yourself up by your bootstraps, start working together, reject the extremism, and move forward to a future of peace and positivity. Is it going to happen? Absolutely not. All right. I love you guys a long time. Goodbye, class. If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.